CE.
Live streaming is on.
CE Homebrew Hardware.
Yes. Yeah.
Text.
That's the one.
Where'd you put the
not
link?
showing up on the YouTube side yet? Is there a delay? Oh, no,
Yeah,
there it is.
it delays a bit.
Okay, cool.
I'll send it to you.
I got it. Oh shit. Yeah, we should probably do that. Shouldn't we? Oh well. Oh.
Do the password or the?
No. I should switch the camera. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because I had it on my FaceTime camera, which has a cover on it. So. By the way, these ELP camera modules are super cool, man. They have like a C mount, so you can actually change the lenses too. So. And they're only like $70-$80. So.
Is that the one you'd sent me? The like small square, like it doesn't have a case. It's just the PCB.
Yeah. Well, they have one with metal casings too. So.
Oh, nice.
I guess I can put my. Hold on. Yo. Yeah, that's more DEF CON. Okay.
Hey. Oh yeah, we're having our own people join. Awesome. All right, I think if everyone's good, we will get rolling. Oh yeah, some people are starting to filter into the.
Can I tweet out the link now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Oh, Zoz, that hat is dope, dude.
Thanks.
All right. Twat it.
Awesome.
What was the ping for?
That's one for twatted. Love it.
Nice. Okay. It looks like we have people in the room. So let's get started. This is going to be very low production value this year. We're going remote and we're going super lightweight. So thank you everyone that's watching for tuning into the Homebrew Hardware 2020 contest. Thank you to our judges, Sec Barbie, Zoz, and El Cantaro. I know everyone is all around the world in wildly different places this year. So I appreciate everyone being up and able to join. So for those of you watching that aren't familiar, I guess I should stop sharing so you can see me as well. Homebrew Hardware Contest is a contest where people enter just some of the awesome hardware projects they've made throughout the year. And then our panel of judges will look at them, go through the read-throughs, see what they do, and we'll rank them and award prizes to first, second, and third place. But really, that's kind of a lie because then I'll give prizes out for stuff that was cool and interesting and funny. I should say last year there was a weird kerfuffle about our badges allowed to enter or not. This year we did allow badges, and we have had 2 entered. I am going to say nothing about one of them because I have a sample in my hand of that badge, and Sec Barbie, I think, is also not going to say anything about it.
That's an inside job, man. I know.
It is an inside job. So with that being said, yes, we're aware. It's all good natured, right?
It is. The major difference this year is that anybody watching this is actually going to hear me and Zaz discuss it. Because last year we just kind of huddled across and we're like, yeah, you know what do you think about that one? They're like, well, I think it's kind of.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to get the inside scoop in
Right.
these judges.
This year we have to do it in public.
We're going to be exposed.
Yeah, so that's I now someone's going to tweet that, and I hope they don't, right? But if people are interested in what we are looking at, and what things we think are interesting, now they will know. So
yeah,
it's a good year. So I guess that's a big difference this year as well, right? Last year we had everyone on stage and let people describe their own entries. This year I will be hidden, and I'll go through a slideshow and pull up all the pictures and videos people sent, so the 3 of you can see them. And I will do my best to try and describe what everyone has told me in the way I think they intended it.
If to the contestants, if you don't win, it's not the judge's fault, it's LP's fault.
Yeah.
Describing your project. But then again, it's your fault for not being able to describe it better so that he understands it. So
right. I'll leave my Twitter DMs open for a week if anyone's real angry. Okay. Cool. So we'll start the slideshow and we'll just get right into it. These are presented in a totally random order. Random being generally the order that they were given to me. So, but in reverse. Oh, now I got to get to my PowerPoint control panel. Too many monitors, too many windows. Okay, so this is our first entry.
I lost you. I don't see shit. I don't know. Is that me? Zaz, do you see the slides? Or?
It's
I see him. Yep.
It's fine.
All right. Cool.
Ooh, okay. Did you get it yet?
No. I'll swing back. Let me switch browsers because I got like a shitty browser on here. I know that craps out.
Cool.
Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Yep.
I'll be listening. Don't worry about it.
So this first entry is actually a modification of a badge. So it was entered by Static. And what he told me essentially is he took the DC 503 trail badge and did some mods, and we'll go through some other pictures to get it to run the NorthSec 2018 badge firmware. And there's some hardware differences. If he's in the room anywhere, speak up. But essentially, I think this was a just because, right? It's like, hey, if you squint close enough, these things kind of could be the same. So let's see if it works. And it turns out he was really successful in getting it done. So if I read some of the information here. So basically, the general intent of this project, it says, is to have fun doing something backwards and to redeem myself for past dumbness. But there is no, it doesn't describe what the dumbness was. So I guess it's kind of left to our imagination. But there's some really interesting pictures of some of the hardware mods and stuff needed to be done. So this was the NorthSec badge. This is what the firmware originally ran on. And I think if I just read through this, both of them had, I think, fairly similar processors on it. Yeah. So there's another modification as well here too. If I start pulling these pictures over, so I like this. It's just a shot of battle station, right? So I think this is cool. Actually, a couple people sent shots of their battle stations. Like everyone has a PC. Yeah, that's great, whatever. But if you show me your lab setup and you also have a bunch of synth wavy looking LEDs, like
the cool mood lighting. That's awesome.
yeah.
I'm too old to work on the station. I can't see for shit if that's the station.
Yeah, I'm at that point too, but it's cool, right? For you people with young eyes.
I think it's cool. I think it's very cool.
And so one of the things here is like, I love this. He said he had to bodge this some of the pinout stuff, right? And so it's all just like dead bugged, sort of, like trial and error. And yeah, I like this too. And then so his friend made this like add-on, right? So if any of you are familiar with the original like trail badge, it's just the wagon. And so his friend made this like aux that has some LEDs, and then to work with the other firmware, it also took some
damn all one color too.
Yeah.
It's just like I couldn't keep track of that.
Yeah, all blue wires. Like I'm just going back to this like I redeemed my previous dumbness, and I love that. But
I want to know what the dumbness was.
I do too. And also in the future, right? If you want to fix that in the future, if you would have labeled the wires or picked different colors or anything at all, but maybe
I think the
fun,
single wire color challenge is rad, man. Because
that's
soldering that dead bug with the one color, that's guts, man.
Right.
Yeah, single wire color is like NASA JPL standards. For pro.
So I think it's funny too, because he sent a really good write-up, but it would be very difficult for someone else to go and do this, having seen just these pictures. So that's our first one. I'm going to just check the chat really quick.
We should see we should have like Olympic, how they hold up the scorings, like a 10,
right.
like a 9. Right?
Oh, Ben's okay. So Ben's in the YouTube chat, and he's saying this color blue he calls standard bodge blue. That's fantastic.
Yeah. That's like a Britishism, isn't it? I think that's we can geolocate this entry from the word bodge, maybe.
I think so, and I didn't ask location, but that's definitely like Commonwealth country, right? I think is the. Hey Ben, I see you were in the live chat. Is there anything you want me to say about this to the judges before we move on, since you are here and watching? Oh, he also says, I spent a day trying to reverse engineer the 503 badge. I didn't actually know that it was just a feather compatible unit.
See, that's where the research failed, right? You
Yes.
just Google it and research a bit to not suffer as much. But
Awesome.
that's good. That's good.
Cool.
Like
okay. He said, it's a pleasure to show you. I'm so embarrassed. And no, that's what this is all about.
That's what it's all about.
And then someone in the, that's really funny. Someone in the DEF CON Discord said, Blue9 said, oh, I didn't know judging would be live on YouTube. Stress intensifies. It's fine. You made an awesome thing and everyone's going to love it. Okay, so our next entry.
As long as you don't cut corners, I'll be nice to you.
Right. Yeah. Clean up your hot glue.
I didn't say that, but yeah, pretty much. This year especially.
Right. Okay, so this one's from Andrew Mohawk, and it's
pretty.
called the Aurora. And so we'll look at the video of this one. It's an ambient light projector for your TV. And so how this differs than seeing LEDs, behind everyone's TV always is he is pulling these colors into the LEDs behind the TV live from the HDMI feed.
Ooh.
So as whatever changes on your TV changes, the ambience behind on the wall changes as well. And he was telling me this story about basically someone, and I'm not gonna shame a large multinational, I guess, but a company builds one, but it's really expensive and it doesn't really kind of live up to, to what they say it'll do on the box. And so he thought, yeah, I'm just gonna do this one myself. It is. So let me see if we can get the video to play. And then we'll talk a little bit about the technical specs.
This makes me think of how Apple on some point on the Mac made all like the window bars and stuff transparent. So when you're browsing a web page or something, like the sides of the window are changing color with the extents of the web page.
Yeah.
I either never notice it or it surprises me when suddenly everything changes to a dramatic color. But this actually seems pretty cool for a TV. I really like this idea. It seems more useful than transparent window frames on a PC.
Right. So yeah, exactly. And he said, and he wrote like kind of why are you entering? He said he likes to build fun, useful projects that he actually uses all the time.
Very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hypnotized.
Yeah. Now you'll vote for it because you hypnotized.
I wouldn't want to be on acid while this thing was going on, but
I would. That's kind of why I want one.
I don't think I can take that much overload.
Yeah. So, so it's basically like it's running on an RPi, and he's using OpenCV and Python, and he had some technical specs in here. He told me. I think he told me it will do at least 20 frames a second. And he was working on this up until like maybe 2 hours before the deadline. He'd been showing me for kind of a few weeks and was like, I think a little worried that he wasn't going to get it in on time, but he did. I don't see Andrew in any of the chats.
Too bad, because I wanted to ask him, what happens if they play like a movie or something, right? What would the LEDs do? Will it just pick up like the colors that stand out the most or something? I don't know.
That's the part that I just don't really get with those anyway, regardless. It's a very cool submission. I just don't understand the why, aside from you can, and it's cool.
It
fucking matters, but just saying.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I think if I had a TV, I would want this.
Yeah, I think I would.
You don't have a TV. That's the problem, Zaz.
Yeah.
I wanted to work my monitor.
Watch movies on my laptop.
Yeah,
but Sick Barbie, it will work because it's just taking out an HDMI feed, so you can feed it anything.
That's true.
Right, so.
At the rate that I alt tab, I'm pretty sure I'd have like a seizure.
You'd be like,
so that would. I would like to see that video, right? Like tab through 90 tabs as fast as we do.
You wanted to see Sick Barbie seizing up, just like...
or that too. Yeah, either way. Like, I'm just
next year's entry, like a surveillance tool that like looks at the color of people's windows from outside and reverse engineers what movies they're watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tempest, the RGB edition.
Yes, that would be awesome. I'll drop after this. I'll drop the link in the chat as well, so people can go watch it more smoothly, not replayed. So then next we have okay. So this is another entry from MintyNet, who entered just an absolutely astounding like piece of kit last year. So Ian's really involved in car hacking in the car hacking village and everything that whole scene. And so last year, it was 2018. Oh yeah, it's right here. Toyota released this thing called the Pasta, and it's like hardware that's kind of like a car in a box to let people hack against a car without having to have a real one there. But when they they announced it, and there was this huge kind of thing online, then they announced the price, and it was $28,000.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of took a step back, right? And was like, oh. So Ian already had kind of a car in a box, but it was in like a really big, like, oversized Pelican case that he travels around to shows with. So he kind of took a look when Toyota open sourced their stuff and said, yeah, I can do that. His write-up is extremely long, and I probably can't do it justice here. The huge thing to me is it meets exactly all their open source doc, and his total to replicate, if you want to just do what he did and build one, is $600.
Nice.
And that is just like an astronomical kind of deal, right? So he, I think, already has taken this to like Car Hack Village in the UK, and I'm sure it would have been in the US this year, if that was possible. Just a little about it. There's 4 main ECUs here that are like gateway, body, chassis, and powertrain, and they're all built on Teensy 4.0s that he built onto these custom PCBs. So Ian's pretty, his home skill set's super high, right? I think the thing he showed us last year, he sells as a product now.
Yeah.
And then there's what else he says? There's IO boards for inputs to replicate all like the body stuff and everything in the powertrain ECU. And he's got 3 next gen 3.5-inch serial driven HMI devices. And then he said the briefcase there is like a standard, like when you just buy at the store. It's a little bit bigger than a manila folder kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like so huge, his write-up, but I'll drop some links as well if people want to see it working. The big deal here is like it's amazing, and he replicated their deal for a fraction of the cost. Some other pictures just so you can kind of see a set. Oh man, that one's tiny.
Yeah, I wish you spent some time finishing up that panel so that it looks like one single panel. But
this one back here.
Yeah.
So I was trying to see if
I don't know if that's because of he needs access to it or not, but
so it is like and I can see it on my screen. It looks like a sheet of black plastic, right?
Oh, it is.
And then the
just the coloring that it looks different. Oh yeah, I see. Oh, it's reflecting.
It's a reflection. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Never mind then.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Alcantara. I thought it was a whole bunch of components just piled in there, but it's just the reflection.
Yeah, and then this is the kind of the size of the thing he had before, right? Was in this much bigger case, and I think this was a pull it out of the junkyard, right? Rip a bunch of stuff out of a car kind of deal. And this one's really interesting too because his goal is really to build it to take it places and educate people, right? Which is I think quite an admirable goal as well. And then there's the teensy like PCB that he made and its enclosure. And so that's a CR like 2032, so you can kind of gauge size.
Yeah, I got a couple teensies right here, so I know the size. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And once again, knocking out of the park.
I know. It's like as soon as he said on Twitter, "Hey, I have a thing I'm going to enter," I was like, "Oh yes." Ian's totally solid, dude.
He is.
Yeah, I just really like the spirit of this. I think that's something that has been around for a long time in the just general tech community, but has is sort of disappearing. The idea like, oh, I'm going to build this cool thing to educate people instead of like, oh, I'm going to see if I can make a ton of money from it.
Hey, LP, I have a suggestion.
98% discount.
Can we make Ian a judge next year so we don't have to judge his stuff?
Yeah. if he agrees, we absolutely can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So the next one's really interesting in that I put these two together. This is an amazing story. So I hope I'm saying his name right. His A had an accent over it, so I'm guessing Braden's maybe like Irish or Scottish. But this guy Braden Lane submitted. It's not a. I'll show you all the pictures. It's not a thing. It's an entire workflow. So what he said is, and I'm just going to do the crappy thing and read from the slide, right? He said, I started making electronics in mid 2019 on a shoestring budget. I plunged headfirst and blindfolded into SMT PCB design. He realized, he wanted to do things in kind of a manufacturing line or like an assembly line way, but he was super strapped for funds. So he has built a set of tools that let him build, at quite a large level at home by himself or with a couple friends. And so the picture in the bottom right here is just he made 250 e-challenge coins this year with this setup.
All right, I saw that.
So
that's the guy. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So he was actually talking. I dumped some pictures in the Hardware Hacking Village text Discord the other day, and he came to tell everyone about it. And it is this is like absolutely mind blowing. So I'll walk through the pictures one at a time. So the first thing is he made his own like hot plate reflow machine, like fully programmable, out of like whatever he could get his hands on. That'll do like, this badge is quite a bit bigger than the challenge coin. I think another one that shows, so he's getting like 3 on there at a time. And this, bearing in mind, this dude said he literally had never touched hardware in his life until the middle of 2019, right? So he built a reflow station. Then he realized he was going to have to travel and maybe be at DEF CON, and he wasn't sure if he could bring the reflow station with him. So he used this sawn-off device and hacked some stuff into it so he could use the iron in the hotel room to rework coins that like might have failed.
That is so good.
That's some prison tech shit, man.
Yes. And I was like, holy shit. So it's crazy, right? Like that he did it, and to have the foresight, like, hey, this might go wrong. And so I'm gonna have to fix it. Then so then he needed to place some parts, right? So he was one of the early people in on this, like making the cartridges for the SMT reels. And he made his in like a modular fashion so we can like label it right, and you just rip them out. And so then he needed some way to place them. And this is crazy to me too. So he built this like pneumatic manual like syringe thing to place the parts once he'd like screened a board. And so he did a run of 250 with this, right? Just like at his kitchen table or something. Then there's another component. He built a programmer too, right? Because why wouldn't you build one instead of buying one?
Nice.
So, and it's all like Arduinos and ESPs and like OLEDs and that kind of stuff. So we kind of
hardware.
Yeah. So I think the biggest run he said he's done so far is 250 of one kind of badge. And like everything in here, he put the prices of them all in, and each discrete component was sort of $20 to $30 kind of thing. Like, if you wanted to go build it yourself, now he's done it. Let me just check if he's also in the chat.
Yeah, tell me more about how that solder paste extruder works.
So
that's what the syringe was, right?
Yeah. No. It was he's picking and placing SMT parts.
Okay. That's like a vacuum.
Yeah.
SMT pickup device. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So I see someone dinged him in the chat, but I don't think he's live right now. He's not with us right yet. But yeah, that's his. So he did, at the very top of his write-up, he said he managed to do 250 challenge coins, and like pretty much by himself. And then he did a run of, so he did 4 toys for kids, 10 holiday ornaments, which is this the bell here, which I think we have a. Do we have a good? Yeah, he did 10 of each, and then he immediately scaled to 250.
I wonder how long that took, though.
Yeah, he did not say. I will tell you also, I like the spirit of this. The first 4 things he made was this toy called a Screamsy, and he did not enter it for some reason. But what he said in the chat the other day is it was like this little robot for kids that can move left and right and change its velocity, and it does that based on a child's volume and pitch. And so he just built this thing that forces kids to scream at it to play with it, and then gave it to these like 7-year-olds, like laughed at their parents and just walked away, which I think is amazing. So then,
very cool.
yeah.
So does this now have like a dedicated heating element, or does it still rely on the hotel room iron?
Yeah, now it uses this in the bottom left here.
I think it's the plate that the bill is
that
sitting on.
silver plate. Yeah.
Oh, so that's got a built-in heater.
Yeah. He just wasn't, wanted a backup solution if that somehow didn't make it to con. Okay. Which that's cool. So the next thing is from Acoustic Girl. So this is LED hypno goggles.
Ooh.
So they're essentially, she said they're cosplay goggles. They are kind of like modeled after the Adafruit steampunk goggles, and they use some NeoPixel rings. The cool thing here, though, is she built it in a hotel room at Dragon Con. She just kind of like got the idea and thought, I'm going to do this. I was talking to her in chat the other day as well. And I think she's in chat right now if she wants to say more about it. But it's, let me pull up the doc on it as well. But they're really cool. They're animated and spin and do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very cool, except for the fact that me and LiPo batteries. That thing scares me.
Yeah.
Right next to your face.
Right.
What could go wrong?
Right. She's in chat. She said, I have tons of ideas how to modify these in the upcoming year. So since you're here, what do you want me to tell the judges?
No one would ever actually accidentally spill a beer on you at a con, Alcantara, so just don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about people jumping up and trying to hug me and then puncturing the battery with the soldering leads on the board. But no, I dig it.
The other thing I think that was important, is part of the reason we do this, right, is to show people it's easy to learn and do. And we, when people were on stage, we were asking like, what did you learn? And in her write-up, she said she'd never used NeoPixel rings or worked in CircuitPython because she's not really a programmer. And so she managed to pull it all off, like sitting there and then in her hotel room, which I think is really cool.
No, I think the location element is very cool.
Yeah, I agree. Battery by the eyeballs a little
worrisome, but
yeah. I think that's good though. Every year you bring it up, right?
I'm gonna keep doing it until people stop doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So our next one is another one from Static. He entered 3.
Okay.
So this one's really interesting. It's the only one that was entered as hardcore. Essentially, it's an extension to TruckDuck that gives them the ability to write PLC for truck signals. So we can get super technical about this, right, and confuse everyone on the call that doesn't know about it. the long and the short is like it's a way in a protocol of like a cab talking to like a trailer, right, in a semi, and some other over the road trucking kind of stuff. His write up for this was really extensive. I think the most interesting thing is out of it, what they were doing, what they were able to do, and the device itself got mentioned in a CISA advisory after they gave a talk about it. So that's always like, an interesting kind of thing. And he sent a huge, like a 20-page PDF. But the big thing really is they had to do some power stuff because they're using a beagle bone, and they're trying to talk out of its 5-volt jack to like the truck duct power supply line, which is really dirty. And the truck duct itself is supposed to be like powered from 12-volt, right, from the vehicle bus. He sent me this picture, and in the original write-up, I think this was called something like he put YOLO inductor.
I was about to say on the previous slide, was that big blue thing like some enormous hand-wound inductor? And
yes.
It seems the answer is yes.
So they did some tests and whatever. This was the solution they came out to, and it works, right? But it's like very hand-tuned, I think, for this board, which is quite funny. I think here's a picture of the like. So this is now where everyone's going to go. This is a picture of the whole shebang that they need to like cram onto the trailer. The green things are Nerf darts. So they were trying to activate and deactivate pneumatic brakes, and to show that it worked, they tapped off the lines and put these Nerf darts on. So if you're successful, these Nerf darts like go flying about wherever you are, which I think is cool. There's, if I zoom in, I don't know if you can see, it looks like they kind of 3D printed a deal that sits on top of the pneumatic controller, which is really cool. Let's see if... Oh, yeah. Someone in the chat said, yes, that inductor is fire. And I don't... That's really funny.
Yeah, if we were holding up like, scorecards, I'd be giving an extra point for the phrase YOLO inductor, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, his friends seem to be in the chat. Is there anything you want to tell us about the YOLO inductor, or people are just like, oh man, I bet that's fun to see, which yeah, I'm sure that's quality when it kicks off. Oh, he's in the YouTube chat. He said, yes, that's 40 inches of wire YOLO. And then he said, we thank you. I think Ben has a great sense of humor. I'm sure he's like a really fun guy to hang out with. So this one is an entry from Blue Nine. So she said she didn't have time to enter something, and then she's actually the person that spurred this tweet that I realized, like, hey, you can submit a much bigger thing than you'd be willing to take to Vegas. Mm-hmm. So she basically built, she crammed a mini ITX board with a NES emulator on it into an NES, like a real one. So we'll just go to her gallery. So I'm going to change next year, like, entry format. I love this imager. Like, it's just a bunch of pictures and a write-up all in one, and I get to be really lazy and do no work. But she went, like, thrifting and found the NES. And it was super gross, right? Because they are always gross. I'm really biased, right? People that watch my stream, I do a lot of old con mod and rebuilds. This line here, dust from 1987. I love that. When you get a console shipped in the mail and you open it and like dust from some random era at a country that's not yours falls out.
That's also how Egyptian curses work, so I'm not sure it's a good thing.
Yeah. Run a Geiger
you
counter
have,
over
you have
them.
released the Nintendo Mummy.
I totally was thinking that too.
Dude, it's 2020. It could happen, right? I mean, we don't know that.
Right.
I'm just convinced that at midnight on December 31st, it's going to turn into December 32nd. I'm feeling
Either that or it goes back to like 2019, and we're like, wait.
no.
Right.
Successfully hijacked this one. Sorry, guys.
So I love this too. She's like questioning here. Just use the old PCB as like badge life and put a chain on it.
Do not tell Lost that idea. He will. That's totally the kind of thing he will do. Remember those records?
Oh.
We're all going to be wearing like PS1s around our necks.
No, I said it in the Twitter, and since you're not on the Zaz, but I said 1 year Lost is going to come up and make a laser disc badge, and then we're going to have to go scramble for laser disc players.
Oh no.
Well, I don't know about you. I have one at home.
They stopped making them, so
How are you, Zaz?
So he could do. I mean, if he's listening or someone is going to poke him, if he did like an NES cartridge that was the badge, that would be super dope.
That has been done though.
Yeah. Well, we had an entry last year that was that, right?
Right.
So yeah, stripping the chassis down, and this is where it gets pretty good. So the NES is like, I have a ton of mini ITX boards and I don't have an NES, and I guess like the old lunchbox is smaller than I thought, because there's this picture here that like she's building up the board, like right there next to the NES. It's I didn't realize they were that similar in size. I thought this one would be an easy one, and it turns out not to be. So
I mean, the ports won't line up, so
right, yeah. So this is important, right? So keeping these original buttons, I think, is really important. And she came up with quite an interesting solution. She pulled the buttons out of the board and mounted them behind the stock buttons, just with like a piece to extend it. And so you're keeping that like factory look, which I think is super slick.
Yeah, very nice.
cotton balls? Are those cotton balls?
Yeah. So
nice.
Cotton balls and electric tape to keep these little things in place while the Gorilla Glue dries. So I assume they got
right.
They got pulled out, right? She's in the chat. She should let us know if they're still in there. That'd be interesting. And so then the gross thing that happens, right? All electronics get old, and so you have to retro bright it or make your own retro bright.
Yeah. I've done that.
Yeah, which they always look so good afterwards. Like, so there's a difference in the color, right? You just put all this like smushy stuff on it and leave it in the sun, and then you get a really nice looking deal. So she's saying in the chat, "Oh boy, please ignore all the rest of this build. It gets glue intensive." I don't care. There's a picture of her. We're gonna. Oh, this is already on the internet, right? So look at that fan. Look at the gigantic size of that fan compared to the mini ITX board. But I think the good thing about that is they run slow RPM, right? And so they're really quiet. And then she, built some standoffs and started trimming the case for all the ports in the back. And then it fit, which is super cool. That's a view into the cartridge slot. Oh yeah, so it gets okay. So this is interesting, right? How do you pull USB ports out the front of an NES? And so it turns out what you do is use modeling putty to pull them out, and then I thought this is pretty good. Yeah, and then shape it all afterwards. And then she slammed another hard drive in it because why not? Everybody needs more hard drives. And then this is like, I thought this is cool. This is a final picture. So if you see down the port, she must have painted or colored the modeling putty so it's black, right? So it looks a little more built in. And then, boom. Which I think that's super cool. Oh, and then I guess cat tax, right?
That is slick AF.
Yeah. So she is in the chat. If anyone has questions, I like that format for everyone else that's watching that's going to enter next year. That kind of write up makes life really easy. So
See, I'm torn. I'm torn on this one because I'm a classic hoarder. I get it. At the same time, seeing the insides of that NES torn apart, it's just a bit hard on me.
Oh.
So there's two options there, right? Like if it's broken, who gives a shit? I guess.
No, I still give a shit.
But if it, what you could do is pull the NES guts out and put them in something else, right? Like go buy the most badass $400 like
thermoplastic case and put the transplant it. Oh, that would make it perfect. That would make it perfect.
Yeah. Oh, she said it's in the chat. She used automotive paint. That's really cool. Automotive paint's super good. Okay, so this is the last one.
I'm getting a very cyberpunk vibe just thinking about that fan, like making the NES sound like a jet engine is inside it. You know, it's got to sound pretty cool when it spins up.
I think someone next year needs to make like a big thermal take case with an NES in it. If that shows up, that would be cool.
With a CRT monitor.
Right. Yeah. So this is another one from Static. I really like this. It's super simple. It's a home-built USB power supply for badges, right? So I think he's feeding into the SAO port so that, you know, when you're at home, so there's like a run of the PCBs, right? And then there's one mounted. So you can display all your badges without having batteries go bad or need to be charged or whatever. I think I like this one just because it's really, really simple and it's super slick and it's very functional. Batteries not included.
I like it philosophically too because it always bumps me out slightly, you know, when people make cool badges and I want to see them again, you know, but then this sort of sometimes people bring them back from previous years and stuff like that, but mostly they just get tossed on the wall or on a drawer somewhere and they never have electrical life again. So this is just like a great way to have the hardware,
yeah,
you know, I agree. Be enjoyed and appreciated in perpetuity. So I just like that on a personal level.
I mean, especially in cases where people, you know, or even when people display their badges, this can be all on one circuit, and you can turn them all on or something, you know, and then it brights up and, you know, be kind of cool. So.
Yeah, that's in the chat when you said that, Zaz. He said, yeah, like that's exactly why he did it. He wants to be able to see it in the YouTube chat like all year round. And I didn't notice this first time when I read through, but he actually spent a lot of time deciding the orientation of the board. So they'll lay as flat as possible against badges so that you can mount the badges to like I guess that's the intent of this picture, right? That's like a very flat surface. And the power supply is not kind of getting in the way.
Wait, is that a micro to micro USB connection then? Because the board is a micro USB, right?
Right. No, he's patched. That's like patched into the.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's not using the board's connector. Yeah.
Never mind. Oh, I see what I mean. Yeah, it goes the other way around. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm blanking. That's
cool though. Like it's very cool. Okay, so now we're gonna get to our last two. So
this is not even fair anymore.
I don't know what to say.
I have feels. Where are the guys? I have some feels right now.
Are they in here? I don't know. I don't think they're in either of the chats. So this is the first one that got entered.
They're on Hacker Jeopardy right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, cool. Okay, so
we can shit talk about it.
Oh yeah, we're totally gonna.
I'm not going to because I have one and it's fucking dope. Like
Zaz, you and I are the only truth in this thing right now.
We're the only ones who haven't been bribed.
Yeah. Then again, bribing was permitted, so
I
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Cheats.
Yeah, people in the chat are calling cheats. I don't know. Do we take the time to describe? Like, if you don't know what this is now and what it can do, you've been living under a rock, right? Like, the video's badass.
Hey, I will give it a fair shot. You describe it.
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm gonna read the official description like I did everyone else's because it is a very good write-up. So it says we are entering the just for fun category. TLDR, this year's badge provides bling, an embedded CTF text-based adventure, a port of My Basic extended to the hardware that's on board to make it hackable. Underneath the hood, it runs Zephyr RTOS on an STM32. Some specs about it. So it's like a multi-layered setup. It's really cool. Like there's a PCB that was microfab, and then above that, there's like an acrylic faceplate, which is, and on the backside of the acrylic is like the shiny silver. It's got an OLED and a TFT screen, and it's got a bunch of LEDs. It's got a BlackBerry Q10 keyboard. It's running an 8 megahertz clock for the STM32. It's USB Type C. So this I appreciate. It runs on 3 AAAs. So I really like the LiPo thing, but no one ever protects them right. And when it's dead and you're at con, and how do what do you do? This you can just.
Man, I like that mirror on acrylic. That's cool.
So I would show mine, but I feel like that's going a little too far because I don't have another one of everyone's to show, but it is very shiny and pretty.
Well, I thought it was just acrylic because the way people put it up there. Yeah. Well, too bad they're not here to explain it. Let's go to the next one.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, shit. This is totally an inside fix right now.
And now people in the chat are saying, I don't know. Sec Barbie, do you want to say anything about it?
You can't say anything about it. You're a judge.
But if she's not judging, she can.
This one, I have to.
Okay.
I have feels about corporate sponsored badges being entered into this.
Fair. Okay, fair.
Well, did they at least the text adventure last year? This is a software question, not a hardware question. But the text adventure last year drove me absolutely crazy because there were no abbreviations for anything, and it was just like tons of typing. So did they at least like kick up the text adventure game a little bit?
Oh, it's kicked up.
Wait, can we disqualify this because it's corporately sponsored?
I mean, I did say on the Twitters that like people could put badges in.
All right. Next year, no sponsored things.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fair. So then
somebody's going to show up with like a nuclear reactor sponsored by GE and said, "Here's my homework."
Right. So then here's the last one. So it's this year's Internet of Batteries, the Internet of Batteries Quantum. Hey, everyone. My camera's not on, right? Okay, great. Cool. Sorry. One of my kids just walked by and like doxed themselves, kind of. So, yeah, this is from the whole, Internet of Batteries team. They got this submitted. They were our last entry, and they were last to submit today. And they are also in the chat, so we can ask a bunch of questions. So this is really interesting. Basically, people told them SAO doesn't support a battery back powering on VCC. Right. And so they kind of thought like, that's not true. And so they built a quote unquote badge that can do that. And I think in the write-up it said they've had at least 12 other devices running off one successfully without anything crashing. So I put people's names up here, I guess, for everyone that doesn't know, right? This is Whiskey Pirates. And they're dumping a bunch
school.
of pictures in the chat
Old
right
school.
now.
I love those guys.
Yeah. Let me go and open the write-up.
You know, they're right now in Alexis Park, which is crazy.
Yeah. So if no one's seen that, go and look at the Whiskey Pirates Twitter.
They're like, fuck it, we're going anyway. So,
Yeah.
Because Alexis Park is such a fantastic place to hang out at regardless.
Right.
it is. It is fancy.
So I'm going to read some of the other stuff it does, as well as being able to like back power stuff, right? It says, this year we've iterated on the concept to bring you an updated model, including a Cypress PSOC 5, RGB stuff, more LEDs, more colors, more capacity, more cloud. There is a Wi-Fi mesh network, which powers the internet of batteries. Through this network, you can send a broadcast message to a big group chat. You can send PMs, where you can send like group messages up to 25 devices. It'll scan for available nodes and other batteries that are in your friends list. You can interact with group and private chats. And so essentially, like, not only is it a good way to power all your stuff, it has like actual, really awesome capabilities. It's based on an ESP32 and the PSOC 5. There's a bunch, like, I'll drop all the Twitter links in the chat for this one as well so people can see. Under their usage section, it says in badge mode, it measures total current of add-ons and logs your power consumption. In add-on mode, it measures its own current. Obviously, it's capable of back powering other badges, like the badge it's on. It has touch sensors to activate the battery gauge, the light show, party mode, and back power enabling modes. So really, just like it's like funny, right? I like things like this. Like it's super functional, but it's also because someone said you can't do that.
Yeah, that's the spirit.
I don't. They're in the chat. Do you want to say anything?
Don't listen to the man telling you what you can back power your VCC.
The only like this.
It's anarchy.
It makes me think of that thing though, right? Like, like where I live, there's a lot of storms through the spring, and people's power goes out, and then every year there's some guy that like backfeeds his house with a generator through his dryer port, right? Because it's 240. And he never shuts off at the main, and then some poor guy, when he fixes the power, gets the crap shocked out of him because some Yahoo's got a generator. It's like that kind of thing, but it's only like low voltage DC. So like, yeah. So that's our last entry. So I'll just run through them all again, just so everyone can see them. So we had Statics badge hardware port, right? Make one badge run another badge's firmware, and the awesome bodging. Andrew's Aurora, which is just beautiful. Ian's car in a box. I feel bad. It's not a car in a box. Like, whatever. This is just a professional device that a guy at home built, right? Braden's entire workflow. Acoustic Girls, awesome hypno goggles. Statics, PLC for trucks, annihilation exploiting device. Blue Nine's NES emulator. Statics, badge power supplies. We're not going to talk about it. And then the Internet of Batteries. So I think...
What a solid lineup,
Dude.
Where
rough,
where
man.
are the joke submissions?
Yeah,
Hasn't anybody any bad hardware this year?
I want the shitty ones that I can dog on, man. That's me. I don't have a job here this year.
So I will say last year, I guess maybe there was more people watching the stage last year than I'd realized, because last year, it was new contest and not many people knew about it. This year, I bet at least 6 or 7 more people reached out and said, like, oh, I see the kind of things that are being entered, and I'm not going to enter because like mine's, not good enough. And I tried to encourage those people to enter, and they didn't.
The spirit is what it counts. I really like this chat format, man. We should do this next year too, so that like people in the remotes can
join
and comment, or if people who build it and couldn't make it or something. I think we should have a remote category next year, so that for people who can make it, if we are going to have the physical conference, that still people can
I like
attend and play along.
I like the chat with it too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
All the submissions are rad.
Yeah, they are.
Except for that and our extra shit.
Yeah, that thing sucked, man. Fucking sellouts.
I would like
just
switch back to my camera.
They're just simple things we just had laying around.
That totally just was stuff that they found in their house thrown together, right?
Right.
And doesn't everyone live in a fab shop in China, right? Isn't that
I joke because I love.
Oh man, I love it too. It's like badge life ain't my thing, but every year they keep knocking it out of the park, and I'm like, fuck.
So yeah, now the 3 of you have a really hard job. So.
But I think we're all too sober compared to last year too. I mean, this is actually thinking about this.
Ooh, right.
Yeah, I took a nap, so I'm pretty clear. So
I knew there was some big difference this year. In how well I was able to keep track of entries and things.
Yeah.
So I think what we can do is you don't necessarily, and now everyone in the chat is going to explode when I say this. Really, the stream is to show off everyone's work. And like the determination can happen offline if you want more time.
No, I don't think that's fair. I think we should do it right now. I think we should do it live. I mean, It is safe mode, so
nobody can throw anything at us. There's a bonus.
Yeah, come on, come at me, bro.
now people in the chat are telling you to drink.
Go ahead, try to find.
No, okay. Let's put this on a vote to the chat. Should we judge them and make the decision now, or should we judge it offline and then announce it via the Twitter?
I like Acoustic Girl. They want it now.
Yeah, they want it now.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think with the way we do it, instead of like us talking to each other, I think each of us should just go through the entries and do like a feedback, and then pick our favorite one.
Yeah, we could do a top 3, and then we can just sort of see if they align to some kind of natural.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a good one.
So LP, you're in the charge of keeping track of what we say then.
Oh, let me
in
get
regards to the top 3.
All right, got it.
This is hard.
It is. It's very hard.
All right. All right. I'll go first and take for the team here. The Oregon Trail badge. What I really liked about that was like the hardware repurpose and reuse. It's like, oh, you've got this thing, let's do something else, but it sort of took it to the next level from your normal kind of badge hack by making that whole separate add-on board, wiring everything up. That even though it was like bodge wire, it was actually like really really cleanly wired and laid out. Like they looked like little circuit traces. The way that the wires were bent and in place, I thought that was really cool. Like I said when we were talking about it, the ambient color projector for HDMI. I mean, that just looks like a useful thing. That's great. I would totally buy one of those if I had a TV to stick it behind. That just seems like a super practical and cool thing. The car in a case, again, like that's the spirit that I really love about this wider community, is that like, oh, here's the thing that you could say like, oh, well, you know, if you can't afford it, screw you. Or like, all right, I'm going to compete with them and I'm going to sell it for almost an expensive price. But no, it's like, I'm going to make this and use it to educate people and show them what to do for like 2% of the price of the commercial product. I think that's totally awesome. The surface mount assembly station, I mean, that's just totally amazing. That's absolutely the kind of spirit that I'm into. It's like, oh, I'm going to be stuck in a hotel room and I want to assemble a bunch of badges. Let's do this. Let's make this portable station. So I don't have any commentary but praise for that. And then the LED hypno goggles is the same thing but more spontaneous. Sort of like, okay, well now I'm in the hotel room and I'm limited with stuff, but I want to make something cool here on the spot. Let's get that wax paper and let's do it. So that kind of spontaneous, get it done attitude of it really appealed to me. Like I said, with the truck duct extension, I'd give extra points for the YOLO inductor and for having it blast Nerf darts. I wish we had a video of it triggering the pneumatics and blowing those Nerf darts everywhere. Attention to detail on the Mini ITX NES emulator, I really liked. You know, just taking that extra effort to make it look really good. That, you know, again, like it seemed people sell, you know, Atari 2600s in an Atari 2600 controller and stuff like that. Like emulators in a piece of hardware is a commercial product, but seeing someone go to the effort of making something that could be a commercial product and making it look like it could be a commercial product, you know, I really like that design spirit too. I already commented on the USB powered badge display that like that philosophy of people put a lot of time and energy into these badges, and why should they have a few days of shelf life and then go in a drawer somewhere or hang on the wall dead? Having them live on is fabulous. Yeah, the N-Not XR badge looks pretty cool. I don't think I need to say anything about that. And the Internet of Batteries Quantum also, like the whole badge game has been lifted to kind of incredible levels based on what anyone might have expected a few years ago. That's what I have to say about that. So my top three would be the in order, well, I don't know, maybe in no order. I don't know how we're adding this up, but the surface mount assembly station, the HDMI ambient color projector, and the third one I have to think about a bit. I'm gonna say the USB powered badge display, because it's, you know, for many reasons already mentioned, but also because it's sort of one out of all of these, it's the one that like a normal, not one of us person would look at and be like, why, right? Like, why did you do that? That makes no sense to go to that much effort, but it totally makes sense to us. So that rounds out the three for me.
Nice.
All right. You want to go next, Sec Barbie, or should I go?
I got it.
All right, you go.
And I really can't even say anything better than what Zaz just kind of went through. Is all the entries are freaking amazing. I mean, all the diversity within them. I'm not going to go through all the step through them process. I'll just give you my top three. I have to say the DIY maker bench is my number one. I just think the practicality of it, everything about the entry just blew me away. My number two is definitely the NES emulator, especially for the attention to detail components. It's beautiful. And then my three is the Internet of Batteries, with a honorable mention to the Hypno goggles, because again, doing that with the intent and spirit of in the hotel room. And I really fought on that one too, because that one I'm like, I really like it because it's just the whole spirit of learn, do, limited budget, you know. And again, we have some things that had some bigger budgets, and everything had a really good heart to it. I love it.
So much. So much.
Not mentioning other things. So go. I hand the torch.
Yeah, I think Zaz rounded it up pretty good. I'm in line with all the opinions of Zaz and Sick Barbie. Like I said, number one for me is the workflow bench, and the reason why is not only the execution, but because it's a thing that makes more things, and that really just kind of warms my heart that somebody went to because the process often gets ignored, right? Is that you throw the things and then you present whatever it is that you build, but if and then I have tools that I have built just because it helps me build better, right? So I like the fact that the whole process that worked for him, and he changed that. So I think Brandon Lane's Maker Bench is number one for me. Number two is Car in a Box, just purely because it's practicality and commercial value. Once again, this is we need to have him as a judge, so I don't have to judge his projects anymore. And number three for me is LED lights. I like blinky things. I think it's very cute. And it might not be for me, but I can see a whole generation of having these behind their TVs and house partying, in a cool way. So yeah, those are my number threes. Honorable mentions to the Acoustic Girls goggles. I like the fact that it was put together in a hotel. That's kind of cool. I travel with the whole kit, so that I do kind of stuff like that too anyway. So and I said, like, the NES build, like I said, I'm torn because I love the execution, but as a hoarder, it just tears me apart when I see things like that. So yeah, Maker Bench, Car in a Box, LEDs are the top three for me.
Kentaro, at least it's still like an electronics project, and it's not like turning a Macintosh into an aquarium or something like that.
Right.
At least it's still hardware.
And don't get me wrong, the execution, flawless. No hot glue on the outside, nothing ugly, very nicely done. But and then the axle bar is like, it's like whatever. But damn, man, it's like, it just, yeah, just me.
So that wraps up kind of easily. Number one by far is Braden's Maker Bench. Number two definitely is Andy Mohawk's LED device. After that, it's real weird because you guys picked like 9 other things. So that leaves us.
That's your fault because you didn't categorize them well.
I know.
Right?
So this is what I think I'm gonna do, right?
Why don't we give that here? Why don't we give the third one to the people?
Let's do it.
I like that.
Yes,
People's choice. So there's number 2 and number 1 and number 2 we picked. Number 3 is people's choice. So find a way for people to vote. You tally it up, and we'll announce it. Or we announce it here. I can hang out.
We'll announce it here. Everyone just spam both the chats. Your options are, I guess, you get to pick anything. So, but other than the Maker Bench and the LED thing, because
Okay, we have a bad hardware port vote in there.
Oh yeah, someone's gonna make a poll. That would be awesome. I would do that, but I'm Discord unlearned.
Man, it's hard. This year was rough, man.
So okay, I'll dump here. Options for third place are 1. Let's be
I have to say about the Maker Bench, what I did love the most is the fact that I actually got one of the challenge coins of reading the entry. I was even more impressed with what he went through.
Bribed.
Unrelated. It was given to me by a third party, so it was an unrelated. Didn't know, and then I read it. Like, holy shit! All right.
So I used to work with a company called Omron. Maybe you know them from like weight scales and temperature gauges and stuff. I used for their industrial automation unit. I worked on a project with them, and they said the best way to describe our product is we make products that make other products, right?
Mhm.
And I think often the process gets ignored, and that's why, like I said, I liked it because it focuses on the process, right? There's
Yeah.
so much more possibilities now that once that flow is being said, right? Now, if next year he comes back and puts it in a suitcase, we're gonna have electronic workshop in a suitcase,
So I think what yeah. I think what I'm gonna do is, well, maybe we'll see where the poll ends up. I will regardless send, like, I guess it's my contest, and I'm gonna pick the one I like the most as well. It's a totally separate thing, and I'm picking the car in the box just because, I like. It's one of those things, right? I hate that.
Practicality wise, last year,
Yeah.
same thing. It's just from a practicality point of view,
right?
It's hard to argue.
Yeah, and I just love that, right? I love the two things that were like, well, three things. Either this was prohibitively expensive, or someone said you can't do this, and then the answer right back is, oh, I can do it for way less. That's
LP, I think you missed an entry.
Mm-hmm.
Which one did I miss? I gotta go
truck
through.
nerf thing.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 6.
Yeah, contestants are people too.
Oh, I want to say things that are very not politically correct.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, be careful. That shit gets canceled these days. So
No.
Don't do it. Do not do it.
I am not living in the next level Jumanji. You don't put that in me.
you're gonna find yourself back at December 31st, 2019.
I know.
Oh, it's by a large margin. It is his Steve said, look, his specialty's hardware, not number. Thanks, Steve. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Because if you fuck it up, you just send another rev to the house, right? And they send you more boards. Like, that's how it goes. There's definitely a clear winner there, and it's the Internet of Batteries Quantum.
Yeah.
Well, but the NES as well. Oh,
they're catching up.
Oh, now
it's a tie. Now it's a tie. All right, we'll give him another, say, I don't know, 3 minutes.
Yeah, we'll go 3 minutes.
All right. Sometimes analog is better.
Me like it, much fun. Yes, this is
Much fun.
So if we get to do this in person next year,
Yes.
I like this as well. Having one that the audience decides.
Yes.
This is
I think that's cool. What?
Oh, I just read this. This is super dope as well, and I'm glad we already did all the stuff now, because I think this would bias people, not unfairly, but Internet of Batteries just said in the YouTube chat, our budget for the batteries was $3,000 USD. We made 100, sold a little over half, so we're giving them away through the con tonight, tomorrow, and through the year. Plan is to invest back in the project stuff we make. So I will say that that and the and not XOR badge, giving stuff away through challenges and meets and rewarding people for doing cool stuff, I think is super dope.
I think it's fair to say too, even if you go back to the beginning of Bandor XOR, it was a smaller budget. It was a smaller scale. Everything does start somewhere. So.
Yeah.
I think that's cool though, that you are doing it and they are doing it. Rewarding people for cool shit seems seems, very old school and kind of like. They have 1 more minute, and so currently leading it is this year's Quantum Death Cell, and the NES is super close.
Oh, snap. That's funny.
This NES thing is like really causing like a kerfuffle. To like, do you hack it up or not?
Yeah, there's like a NES hacking schism going on here.
Right? So I'm not alone.
And I love it. The Blue Nine was unfortunately the person that said, "Oh no, this is getting judged live. Like now the anxiety is increasing," and it's like her thing that's caused the.
I love it.
Well, it's good. It's good to cause a controversy in a competition.
It is. It's
pride.
Okay, I'm gonna take a screenshot of the votes, and I'm gonna count down from 5, and at 0, I'll take the screenshot.
All right.
Yeah,
So
people stop like screwing with the votes.
yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now. Oh no.
There's a lot of last second changing going on.
So someone just DM'd me in Discord and said, "How many times am I allowed to vote?" Well,
Hey, dude, this is DEF CON. Anything is possible.
Right.
And a lot admitted,
So, oh look, I caught it right in the.
Yeah, but it's still 4.
It's still 4. So it is the Quantum Death Cell. So there we go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone. Awesome. I will add. I will tweet out all the honorable mentions as well. I don't know who just said what, and maybe it was me because someone in the chat put, "Are we still doing phrasing?" Shit, I don't know what it was. Okay, that is awesome. So there we go. First is Braden's DIY maker bench. So let's scroll through these again so people can see them, which is awesome. Second is Andrew's Aurora, which also is a super cool name. Like if he was going to sell it as a product, boom.
And then issues, but okay.
Yeah, and then third is the Quantum Death Cell. So. Awesome. Good job, everyone. Thank you, judges. You're all amazing. I appreciate your time.
Hopefully, we'll get to do this in person.
Yeah.
All y'all.
Yeah. Can't wait. Okay, cool. I'll shut the stream down. Thank you all so much for your time. You're amazing. I love you all. Thank you, contestants. Cool. Bye, everyone out there.